What's going on, guys? I am Stock Sniper Mike, and I am back again with another Weekly Watchers watch list. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what the Weekly Watchers watch list is, it's something that we've been releasing every single week on Sunday with the upcoming stock that we are looking to potentially make you and us money for the next week. So last week we did a very good job all together, profiting just about $1,000 from last week's weekly watchers list. So big shout out to everyone that was able to profit with us and tag some bags on the 3 plays that we actually able to profit from on last week's weekly watchers, where we were able to profit $1,000 in a very ugly red overall market. And this is the time that the skills are starting to show. It seems like 2020 and 2021 were the big bull markets, but we're running into a bear market, and in a bear market we're gonna find out who are the skill traders and who are the beginners, and I'm excited to show you guys what the stock snipers have to offer this year. With that being said, let's get our way to this weekly watchers list. So you could find that on our website at www.thestocksnipers.com, or even better, we're on the App Store or Google Play under Stock Snipers. So as simple as that, you could download us in the App Store, and where you're going to find it here, you're going to go to the Stock Sniper app, you're going to open it up, and you're going to log in there. When you log in, you're going to have the all page. The all page is everything that we have to offer throughout the week. It's a great community of traders. Everyone's on the same goal of getting rich together. The market was ugly last month, and we still were able to profit over $5,200 all together with all these tools that we have to offer here. But if you dive in to the watch list tab, that's where we're going to actually show you where this weekly watchers watch list is. So I'll click on that watch list tab on the top. You'll have that morning watchers that we had this morning, as well as the weekly watch list tab that we have every Sunday afternoon. So let's dive in here and let's see if we could have a better week than we did last week, making $1,000 on last week's weekly watchers. So let's dive in. Now, this weekly watchers is a great one because we're dividing it up in tons of different sectors. There are different ways to make money in the market, and taking advantage of what's hot and what's not is what the stock snipers are all about. So we'll dive into a couple different scenarios and a couple different ways to profit in the stock market in the upcoming week. And let's start off with our favorite, the OTC penny stocks. The OTC penny stocks is what's been consistent for the snipers for 4+ years now, and we're not going to stray away from it. So let's start off with our favorite, DPLS. OTC penny stock DPLS is a stock that has ran crazy in the past. As you can see with the crazy big spike that it had all the way back in the summertime, now it's completely cooled off. The fact that it's cooled off just means that it might spark back up again. We're looking for it to hold this trading range that it's been trading the past 2 weeks between 443 and 36. If this is able to come down to 36 to start the new week and hold that, we're going to be looking to play this potential first green day in OTC penny stock DPLS. The next one is a penny stock that we actually know really well because we just made just about $200 on it on Friday when the first green day didn't end up working out. Since it didn't work out on Friday, that just means that first green day is more than due to happen this upcoming week. We have 6 straight red days in this stock, and now 7 straight red days if it does come down to start the new week. If this does come down though, we don't want to play a panic. We're looking for it to hold 1-2. That was the daily support and the long-term support that it was able to create just last week. So if it's able to hold that spot, we think this thing has a good chance to finally create that first green day and momentum shift in CYBL. But a tough overnight gap up kind of play, and that's why we decided to take the $200 plus bag when we had it on Friday. Alright guys, and now we're going to get into something new. Don't want to bore anybody, but don't want to get too complicated. So I'm just going to briefly go over these, and if you guys want some more information, you can always reach out to us on our Instagram or hit us up on our email. But we are actually starting to get into something new, and this fairly new investment has been around forever. And now that the markets are getting very volatile, almost like they were in 2020 when the pandemic happens, these larger stocks are really starting to move. And when larger stocks start to move, the option chains start to move, and you can start to take advantage of these options. And that's what the snipers have been doing. Last week we actually were able to profit about 100%. It was like 85% on an option play on Facebook after the big gap down from earnings. This week, we have our eyes on a couple more big listed stocks and then the potential turnaround that they can have in the upcoming week or next week. And this right here is the list of 5 stocks that we're looking to potentially snipe on the option chain. First, we're going to start off with the one that we already profited on last week, and that's Facebook. We were able to profit, like I said, 100% in about 2 hours there in Facebook, and we took the bag while we had it. Good thing we did, because it came back down to end the week, and if it does continue to come back down, we're just going to be looking for that momentum shift back up. This thing just gapped down $100 after earnings, so the big investors are struck and in awe, but they do have to eventually get some of their money back, and we will see the turnaround. The good thing about having all cash is we're not watching our money bleed. We're just ready to take advantage of the move when it does flip back around. The next listed stock is another one that is completely bloody and ugly 2021. That's listed gambling stock DraftKings. This stock has been getting pushed down forever now, and we do believe if there's some sort of gambling good news or some sort of short squeeze in the gambling sector, that DraftKings will definitely be a part of it. So we are going to keep our eyes there. We think this thing is down way too much to start this year, and it should be able to get a turnaround sometime soon. But we're not trying to take advantage and guess the bottom. We're just going to take advantage of what's hot and what's not. The next one is another earnings play, and it seems like these earning plays are the plays that we're starting to eye down with the options. When stocks are getting huge gap downs, especially the ones that we've just seen like Facebook and now Ford, dropping down almost 10 to 15% after earnings, we know the stock's eventually going to have to turn around. Just like all stocks can't go up all the time, they can't fall down and keep falling down all the time. They're eventually going to have to bounce, and that's what we're going to be looking for in Ford next week for that first green day play on the option chain. The next one is a famous one. A lot of you guys know about it because the big investor Cathie Woods, who was the innovator investor that did great in 2020, but all those 2020 stocks came crashing down. She probably made a little bit of money, but either way, it's all about sniping it and not holding long term here. If you want to try to take advantage of her play, we think the ARKK option play for next week could be the potential move to make you money with that. Last but not least is one that we've just been watching for a while now. It's a listed stock that literally should have never IPO'd, because after they IPO'd, they have just been getting hammered down. Eventually the first green day and the momentum shift is going to start to turn around, but right now it doesn't look like it's happening. If it does happen and we start to see it at any time next week, that's when we'll start to eye down these option chains. But Robinhood is the last one that we'll be eyeing down to close out this next week. Alright guys, and those were the option chains. Like I was saying, this is something fairly new that we're just testing out. Nothing 100% consistent, just like the sniper patterns that we have right now, but we will test these out and continue to profit if there is money to be made there. Now, the next thing that we're going to go over is our favorite sector of the whole market. And this is almost the reason why we started trading back in 2014, the cannabis sector. The cannabis sector saw some life and saw some spark to end the week last week after they officially passed the reform bill for the 6th straight time. So the Democrats go at it and at it again, bringing the bill to the House. The House has to approve the cannabis bill. It approves it, and then it has to go to the Senate. The Senate has now denied it 5 times, but we're going to try one more time, and that did bring some momentum to the cannabis stocks. We also had legalization news, and legalization news is big in the cannabis sector and usually brings some volume to other cannabis stocks. But this was in Mississippi, and it was only medical. Mississippi is not the biggest state, so it's not the biggest awe, but it's good to see that we are now 37 states in of legalizing marijuana. We're almost all 50 in, and once that moment happens and we can lift the ban of federally legalized marijuana, we think these stocks are going to be able to really move. But for the upcoming week, if we do get that momentum that we did last week, we think all these plays are going to make the plays that they do. So let's dive in and check them out. The first one is one that we just made money off of last week. We made over $320 off of OTC penny stock MedMen off of a first green day. We were up more than that, almost $600, but we thought it was going to keep going. It didn't, and it came back down, and that's where we were able to sell. Even though it came back down, it still held a key support spot of 135. So as long as it continues to hold 135, we're going to look for that gap back up and push above 15 cents. If it gets above 15 cents, we believe that's a good spot to eye it down for a potential first green day and momentum shift back above 16s, and then up into the last, at this time this year, it was running up into the dollars. This next one is another OTC cannabis stock that got news last week. It got news with another OTC stock, VRNOF, that they were going to be acquired. We like this because this is a fairly new stock, and they gapped up all the way to 238, and 249 is the all-time high. It did push and stopped at 238, and then when it came down to settle, it was able to hold 215 for the next 3 days. So we now have a trading range of 238 and 215. If it's able to continue to hold that 215 and then break back above 238, we're going to be looking to play this play, looking for the 52-week breakout of 249. This next one is one of my favorite stocks, a stock that I've been following now forever. This is OTC CWBHF, OTC cannabis stock. CBD cannabis stock. They're actually the first ever company to come out with all CBD plants, so no THC in it, to help seizures and epilepsy. This is Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web is crazy that it's down to a penny stock. I mean, we were playing this stock when it was a $7 stock, $12 stock back in the day. Now it's below $1, and it did make that first green day to get back above $1 last week. We're just looking for it to continue to hold that dollar spot because that's key, the penny to dollar break in penny stocks. But if it's able to hold that, sky's the limit here, and if it breaks 120, we think it's going to be able to make a run with the sector momentum in cannabis. And this one we've actually watched longer than that last one, Charlotte's Web. This is our first official stock that we watched back in 2014 when the cannabis sector first started to become legal in Denver, and this by far has the best name, MJNA, best ticker. They are OTC penny stock, cannabis stock that is completely dried off with the volume. But when the volume does come back, this stock does tend to run. The cannabis sector gets heat, usually MJNA gets heat as well. So we're going to be looking for the day that it's able to get back above 0.18 with more than average volume. And what we mean by that is $200,000 or more in dollar volume. And last but definitely not least is a higher price OTC dispensary. Actually one of the Sniper's favorite dispensaries down here in South Florida, so it's sniper approved. Unfortunately, they're getting beat up with the whole cannabis sector the past year, but we do believe all these stocks are due to turn around. This one came up to that $7 1-month resistance spot last week, but then got pushed right back down after a decent run that it had. So it makes sense for a slower stock to come back down after the run it had, but if it's able to continue to hold around $7 and then break back above it, we think that this is going to be a good play, a slower play, but a nice old reliable play that should be able to spike all the way back above 737 1-month high, and then all the way back up into the possible 8s. So if it's able to do that, that's a nice bag, but like we said, a slower mover, so you don't look for the biggest bags there, but one that's more reliable for you and you won't lose as much on the way down. And that wraps it up there. Number one rule is always cutting your losses. So when we go over these plays, we're not just telling you to go buy all these stocks at the beginning of the week and hope that they work out. No, we want to make sure that they stick and hold these support spots, our cut spots, and then are able to break above the resistance spots that we would buy at. If we get those momentum shifts, that's where we'll be looking to take advantage of these plays. Alright guys, I hope to see you guys profiting on these plays like we did last week. Just about $1,000 on our last weekly watchers. Let's see if we can beat it with this one on the next upcoming week. I'll see you guys back here next week for another weekly watchers. Stock Sniper Mike, out.